Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is Thursday, 7:34 a.m. on February 18th, 2021. This is episode 27 of the Duron Coles Morning Show with your host himself, Duron Coles, which is me. Um, like I always like to do, I want to thank and welcome the live listeners that are listening on the Clubhouse app right now, and also a big thank you to all the people that are watching this later on the different social media platforms. So, just to dive right in, today's episode is going to be about the online debate that has been going on about just a lot of things, honestly. Um, Mostly like a lot of black love conversations I want to have, but a lot of different areas I want to jump into. First and foremost, just to give a little background or I guess yeah, let's just call it that. A little background. There's been a huge debate online about two things. First and foremost, Lil Boosie's comments on Lori Harvey and her love life and the things that's been going on in her life in the last 2 years. If those of you that don't know, Lori Harvey is Steve Harvey's daughter, and she has been kind of known right now for going to different for dating different men in the industry, whether it be the music industry or the movie industry, wherever. To give quick examples, she dated Diddy, she dated Future, now she's dating Michael B. Jordan, she dated Pharrell. It Everyone says that she was dating Diddy and his son, but Diddy's son, I don't remember his name. King, I think his name is King Combs or something like that. He came out and said that they're actually just friends. So that's one like rumor that's been dispelled. But basically, regardless of if it's been dispelled or not, it's believed around the entire America, world, whatever you want to call it, that she has been dating a father and a son, and just a lot of negative things about her. So Boosie came out, or on Vlad TV, a famous YouTube show that interviews rappers, movie stars, and just interviews everyone. And he's known for honestly sounding like the cops. He says he asks a lot of damning questions, trying to get people like arrested and stuff. He'll ask about if someone talks about like killing in their raps or something. He'll be like, so explain a little more about that. Who exactly have you killed? Like things like that, trying to get them to, for lack of a better term, rat on themselves. So Boosie was on Vlad TV, and this isn't the first time that he's made comments on Vlad TV that got blown out of proportion. But he went on Vlad TV, and Vlad, who was the host, asked him, so this Lori Harvey situation, what's your take on it? How do you feel? And he said that, and I may quote him wrong, but he basically said that we need to stop saying that she is goals and giving women this type of praise for basically being quote unquote passed around and dating all these men. And he said we need to start praising like the men or something. He was really weird with the end of his comments, but from what I gather, he was saying we need to praise the men for it, and like we don't want our daughters doing what she's doing. So there's a lot of backlash, and obviously from a like, and I don't want to say this in a negative demeanor, but from like a feminist / women's rights, women's equal everything perspective, a lot of women in different comments or in different social circles have said like, well, this is what the men do, so why are we as women being like chastised for it? Why can't we do the same thing? And I'm slightly on their side, honestly, but I'm on a different side completely, but I am on their side as far as the equalness, but I'll get into that in a little bit. And the other side of the argument or the debate is saying, yeah, he's right, this is not like a good look for our young women, and this isn't something that we want them to model themselves after. Lori Harvey is obviously a beautiful woman, and we don't want our women thinking that this is quote unquote okay. So, and I guess, yeah, I'll talk about his response and then I'll get into everything. He also came out later after all this backlash, and then he made a second response to the backlash and said, I'm not saying that the woman can't do what she wants to do. Like, she's a grown woman, she can do whatever she wants to do. He said, but just know that if you're promoting this, you want your daughter, or imagine if this was your daughter, and you're promoting this, he said, that means you want your daughter to be sleeping around with 7, 8, 9 industry people. He said, and if that's what you want, then I guess this debate or argument isn't for you. I can't do nothing for you. He said, but I'm just telling the people that think that this is okay or whatever, that it's not. And a lot of more people after that came out and said, like, oh, well, I guess he's right, because like that is a lot of men and yada yada yada. And here's my take on it. This is my side. First and foremost, as a man, yes, that's exactly what men do. Men will go and they'll try to parade themselves around and go date. In like using the Lori Harvey situation, a two year period, they'll try and go and date 7, 8, 9 women, sleep around with them, and no one says anything. They kind of promote them. Someone that Lori Harvey dated, Future, is known for that same thing. That, oh, Future goes around and dates all these women and does this. Like, people don't bat an eye. It's kind of laughed at. He's the quote unquote toxic king, and people are like, ha ha ha, like it's a joke. But Lori Harvey's doing the same thing, and we're looking at her like she's the she-devil and she's doing something incorrect, and I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. Now let me put this, and this will be the whole basis of my argument. If this was my daughter, would I want my daughter going around and sleeping with 7, 8, 9 industry people? No, I wouldn't. But for me personally, I wouldn't want my son doing the same. I wouldn't want my son doing that either. That's just like how I've been my whole life. I don't promote that. That's not, to me, that's weird. Plus, the way my brain works, I can't handle talking to 7, 8, 9 different people like that. I get too attached in feelings and all that, so I can't do that. And I think we as people just need to have, I guess, more intimate connections with people. But at the same time, we tell young adults, look, getting married or settling down is a big thing to do. You don't want to rush into it. Take your time, go date, and go figure out exactly what you want. And now that Lori Harvey's the one doing it because she's famous or because of her last name or because of her looks, it's looked at like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's actually doing this. But if it was some Jill or some Sarah on the side, like on just a regular citizen, regular person, she's not famous, doesn't have the last name Harvey, no one would say anything. Or at least not no one, but it wouldn't be a big debate about whether it's okay or not. I feel as though as long as the person is keeping themselves safe, then they should be able to do whatever they want. I always believe in that. You should always be able to do whatever you want as long as you're ready for the consequences. However, if it was like up to me and I'm teaching my children, like I have to be their father, that guide to them, that would be what I would promote. I'd be like, look, like when you grow up, you definitely have to I would tell them what people are saying about Lori Harvey, but I would just tell them, be careful. You have to go see exactly what you want, because there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of different things. You might think that you like one thing, or you might see a pretty face and then go, "Ooh, like this person is for me," and then they might do tons of things that you don't like. It's not all about that. You have to mess around with different people to see what you like, but you got to be careful. I will admit 9 in like a 2-year span is a lot. It might be that might be a drastic overstatement. I don't know. That's just the number people have been using. I can't name all her partners or anything like that. But regardless if it's 9 for her or 9 or not, whatever, my stance still stays the same. I think 9 in a 2-year period is a lot of people. It's a lot of personalities. It's a lot of like when you talk to people or try to get their gauge on how they feel about like relationships or a relationship, it does a lot. It's a lot of work on you. It's a lot of pull on you. So to have to go through that 9 times in 2 years is a lot. And maybe I'm making assumptions by assuming she wants to even have long relationships with these people. They might have their own agreement or their own standard, like, look, like, we both look good, we just want to have some fun, and that's what she's doing. Now, I can't tell you whether that is or isn't okay, because she's a grown adult. She can make her own choices, and that's that. But just from, like I said, just from an equals, I think when we talk about equal rights or equality in general, I think we do it from nothing wrong about it, but just a weird perspective for me. We look at something that's being done like blatant, or something that's being done incorrectly, and then we go, if someone's not allowed to do that, we go, oh, we wouldn't be allowed to do that too, instead of saying, hey, why don't we correct the issue for everyone? And not just with relationships or anything like that, but with I don't even have like a huge example, but just take this one with a grain of salt. If when like let's use whites and blacks. Let's say whites are allowed to do this illegal thing that blacks aren't. Like, and it's every time black people do it, we get like all the this is a perfect example. With the whole police brutality thing that's been happening, or the what is that called? The riot that just happened, January 6th, that riot. Everyone was complaining like, oh, they're not, or the white people had heard the black community complaining like, oh, nothing's being done. And they were saying like, what do you want them to shoot them in the streets? Not exactly. Like, if you guys aren't going to, like, we don't want mass murder to just be okay in the government, but we're asking for you guys not to shoot us. You guys are treating us incorrectly, and you guys are treating them correctly. And we're not asking you to treat them incorrectly. We're just asking us to be treated correctly. So if that doesn't make any sense, like I said, we're not asking for others to be shot dead in the street. We're just asking for us not to be shot dead in the street. I think, and that's a drastic example, like, compared to what this is, but I think it still has the same like sentiment. I don't think, in my perspective, I don't think we should be saying, oh, men go around sleeping with all these women, so women should be allowed to do the same thing. Okay, that's one perspective, but I think we should promote it in the other way. I think we should promote both parties to just be more careful and not try to hurt people's feelings and sleep around with everyone. Because what happens right now is men are doing that, and they're calling it like the quote unquote the game. Like, that's the game. Charge it to the game is what you're hearing everybody say, right? So what women start to do the same thing. They start to tell men like that they care about them, and then like they might have sex with them or get money out of them, get gifts or whatever, and then they'll ditch them. And then a man will be like, why did you do that? And a woman will be like, charge it to the game. Y'all been doing this for centuries. Charge it to the game. And I'm not saying, like I said, whether who's right or who's wrong or whatever. I think, or what I am saying is I think both parties are wrong. When men do that and they toy with women's emotions, and they're like, oh, I love you, and like, I really want to be with you, and they really don't. They just want to have sex with them. And then they get it, and they're like, all right, deuces. And they're like, wait, I thought you wanted to be with me. They're like, nah, I was lying. Charge it to the game. How are you going to be upset when a woman does the same thing back to you? You know what I mean? And it's sad because it becomes a cycle. It's sad because some hurtful bad guy could do that to a woman who was fine, like she was never like that, and then that happened to her, so she's like, all right, bet I'm in the game now, like if that's what the game is going to be, fine. Then she meets a nice man and does the same thing to him, like, oh, I love you, I want to be with you, you think you could get me these gifts, it'll make me really happy, and he's like, I would do anything to make you happy. So he gets her these gifts, and then she's like, all right, bet I'm out. He's like, wait, what? And she's like, yep, charge it to the game. And then that same guy, he was a nice guy, whatever. Now he could do the same thing. All right, I'm in the game. Does that to a girl, and it's a cycle. It just keeps on going and going and going, and that's a sad thing. So, in my perspective, the only way to change that is to end the game. Period. We shouldn't be saying, "Oh, since men are running game, let women should too." No, we should do the opposite. Men should stop running game as well. But like I said, that's just my perspective on the whole thing, because it doesn't make sense. We're all just hurting each other in a cycle, and it's kind of like I was hurt before, so it's okay for me to hurt you, and that's not fair, and that's not right. I don't like it. It's not cool. So that was my take on the whole Boosie and Lori Harvey thing. And like I said, another black love topic I wanted to jump into was, and this one wasn't as popular. This may have only been in like my small, not inner circle, but my Facebook like circle, because I haven't seen this much anywhere else. But I did see the conversation, so I wanted to give my take on it, because it is definitely an interesting topic. Everyone has been calling, from, like I said, from what I've been seeing, been seeing a lot of people calling Russell Wilson like a simp for his wife, and because he goes out publicly and like says how much he loves her, and how much, like someone said, like, what are you most afraid of losing? He said he's most afraid of losing Sierra. Like all these different, you get all these examples. I don't have to go on and on and on. Russell Wilson clearly loves his wife, right? So, that being said, I've been seeing a lot of, specifically black men, calling like Russell Wilson a simp and saying what he's like, don't be like him. And first and foremost, that's just messed up. Like, if you're married to a woman, you should be trying to give everything to her, like all the love, affection, and just making sure she's taken care of. So for you guys, for the people that are saying he's simping for his wife, first and foremost, why is that a bad thing? But second of all, that's what he's supposed to do. And third of all, why do we have some negative derogatory name put on it? Simping or something. Like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And there's two topic of conversations here. One, there's been like a comparison between what Nipsey Hussle used to say about like Lauren London and how much he showed his love and affection for her, and what Russell Wilson is doing with Sierra. So that's one topic of conversation. But two, I want to dive into why, in my opinion, like black men specifically are saying these things about them. So two, let's do the quick comparison. Lauren London and Nipsey Hussle. So for those of you that don't know, they were a popular, you guys should all know, but I'll do it anyway. I kind of have to. For those of you that don't know, Lauren London and Nipsey Hussle were a very popular couple. Unfortunately, Nipsey Hussle died about, I don't think that was last year, I think that was 2 years ago. He did die in what was like a nonsense killing at his store called the Marathon. He did get shot and killed. So before he died, he preached that you need to take care of your woman, and you need to be like the head of your household, and your woman comes before anything, and like hold it down. But the difference is Nipsey Hussle came from the streets. He was a Crip. He was a hard rapper. He used to sell drugs. He used to do a lot. Like he was from the streets. Now Russell Wilson, he's known as a church man. He's known as being very soft. very soft spoken, very knowledgeable, very like college boy. The way even he dresses. So he's known. There's two different personas here. Russell Wilson doesn't have any like tattoos. No, doesn't give like a hard persona. Nipsey Hussle is tattooed all the way up to his face. He gives a different persona than Russell Wilson does. So now with Russell Wilson, Sierra was dating Future, who was obviously in the industry, and then moved on from him and went and got yeah. So let me even go a little deeper because people were trying to do the comparisons. If you guys hear me pausing a lot, I'm making the comparisons in my head before I say them. So Sierra was dating Future, had a child with him. Future's obviously in the rap industry, and then they didn't work out. She left and went and got another man from a different industry, the NFL. So that's one comparison. Lauren London, she was dating Lil Wayne. She had a baby by him, and then she went and left and got Nipsey Hussle. She left a music industry guy and went and got a music industry guy. So one thing that gets talked about is that they say like, oh, not as much because it's not really a negative thing. Obviously, NFL people make more money, but they talk about how Sierra like left Future and went to a guy with more money and blah blah blah. And they also talk about it from a Russell Wilson perspective, like, oh, you, like kind of the same thing about the Lori Harvey situation with passing people around in the industry. They're like, oh well, Sierra came from like a music guy in the industry and she's still dating people in the industry. Lauren London came from somebody in the industry and went to somebody in the industry. But you don't see the negative conversations regarding Lauren London's relationship like how you do Sierra's relationship. Now, I think that's a lot to take in, and I can't give you all the reasons why people are saying what they're saying, but I can only try to give you my perspective. I think first and foremost, and I'm not trying to get racial here, but I think this is just the truth. I think first and foremost, people judge Russell Wilson because he used to date a white woman. Before he dated Sierra, I think he was actually married. He was married to a white woman, and he did that when he got drafted. He was like 22. He was married. He didn't have any children or anything, and then he went and got Sierra. So I think that's first and foremost, people judge him off that. That's just my opinion, because they look at him like, oh, I don't know. I personally think that they judge him off that. Second, like I said, I think it has to do everything with traits and persona. I'm going to do Russell Wilson and then I'll do Nipsey Hussle, but it's kind of talking about them both at the same time. I think it has everything to do with persona. Every time you hear Russell Wilson speak, he just talks about like giving the glory to God, and just like I said, he's very soft spoken, not really aggressive, and there's not much history about him that speaks that says anything about aggression. Now Nipsey Hussle, he has come out several times and said like don't mess with me or I'll hurt you. There's even videos of him, like I think that was at I don't know if that was at the BET Awards or if that was at Rolling Loud or something. He smacked the crap out of like some security guard. So I think even before we get into any reasons like subconsciously or consciously why people are saying these negative things, first and foremost, they're not saying these things about Nipsey Hussle because he was hard. Go ahead and disrespect him and say, oh, you're simping for your wife if you want to. He would have smacked the crap out of you too. Russell Wilson just going to brush it off his shoulder, so people are saying what they want. They're just, all right, whatever. I know he's going to allow it. Nipsey was never allowing you guys to disrespect him. So that's the like 90% of the reason. That's the point blank period why, you know what I mean? Like why people are just saying what they think they can about it. But to dive more so like into it, there's been speculation that black men can relate more to Nipsey because he didn't end up marrying Lauren London. They were just together for a really long time, so it kind of seemed like that they were married, but they never really did it. So that wasn't his wife. He just always like referred to her as like, this my girl, this my world, this my girl. But he never, like, that wasn't his wife. And then with Russell Wilson, people are seeing they're married, they have this quote unquote like perfect happy couple life. They're doing dances and they're doing like, you know what I mean, like they're doing stereotypical 2000s sitcom type stuff. whereas Lauren London and Nipsey Hussle, they kind of seem like to be like a new age. They kind of seem like Bonnie and Clyde, kind of like folklore superhero type stuff, not 2000 sitcom where it seems corny. So I think that's another big reason why people look up to them and look down on Russell Wilson and Ciara, where in reality they both should be put to the top and looked at as like, look, this is black love, this is the pinnacle. Everyone used to use Will Smith and Jada until the entanglement situation. Now we can look at Ciara and Russell Wilson and say, you know what, this is the pinnacle of black love, this is what we're trying to achieve. But they don't do that. And I'd be not wrong, but I think I'd be slightly incorrect if I said that that's what they were doing with Lauren London and Nipsey Hussle. I don't think people were saying this is the pinnacle. But I could be wrong about that. But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I would love to hear like some form of different answers and stuff. But last topic, because we got about 15 to 20 minutes left. Last topic. I wanted to talk about some black tropes that go on inside our black community and how they not only affect conversations like this, but affect the way that society sees us and the way that we grow up. And I actually had this conversation with one of my friends yesterday, and I didn't even put two and two together until just now. It's like I said, subconscious things happen to you all the time. So just to give you guys a little backstory on that, and then I'll dive right in. One of my friends, he called me, and I'm helping him look for like an apartment and stuff. For those of you that you should know by now, I'm a realtor. I'm a licensed realtor in the state of New Jersey. So I'm helping one of my friends find his first apartment. And he just went away on his trip. He said, we'll look more seriously when I get back. So okay, cool. So he just got back, called me, said, yo, I'm back. Let's keep looking. I said, how was the trip? He said, trip was fine, but this one of his friends, I don't know if this is someone he's approaching, whatever. One of his friends, they without giving them away and making it a whole argument or anything like that, basically there's a trope. I'll say it like this. It is what it is. I'll just take the heat. There's a trope being from Camden, New Jersey. There's a trope where people put that pride on their chest and on their forehead and walk around with it anywhere, everywhere. So their trip was to Puerto Rico, and this woman was acting out, and no matter where it was or what she was doing, they was like, yo, you gotta chill. She said, I'm from Camden. It's what we do. Blah 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 blah. And he said, well, it doesn't matter where they are. That's kind of her thing. She's a little younger, not like 16 anything like that, but 19, 20. So she has a lot to like grow past that. And I could relate to that in two ways. One, black tropes in general. I think we do that around a lot of people in a lot of situations. We go like, I'm black, this thing, or I'm from this place, so this is allowed, or this is okay. But that was one way I related. But two, I used to see the same thing, and I was kind of the same way. Like, when I went to college, people would say something or do something. I'm like, you don't know where I'm from. Like, I'll really beat you up. Just because of where I was from, or just the way I was raised. Not raised, but the things I was taught. Things I learned growing up. So I could definitely relate. And he said if she's not able to get out of that, then it's going to be a hard life for her. You're not going to go where you want to go. And when I was telling him, like, yeah, I don't think you knew me my freshman year, but I used to be the same way. You can ask my friends from my freshman year. I was the same exact way, and I had to grow out of that. And he said, because you did, you're able to do the things you're able to do now and accomplish the things you're able to accomplish. And I never really thought about it that way, but it made a lot of sense. So to dive right into the black tropes, I think there's a lot of things we need to work on in our community, and only we can do it. First and foremost, as this whole conversation started, we need to work on black love and what love really looks like. Because there should be zero reason at all why people are looking at Russell Wilson and Ciara and saying that something is being done incorrectly. Like, oh, don't be Russell Wilson. You're going to be the woman in the relationship if you act like him. Like that's uncalled. One, that's uncalled for, and two, that's incorrect. You should be putting your woman on a pedestal. Kevin, the crazy thing is, I just put two and two together. Kevin Gates says the same thing. Kevin Gates actually says it just like Russell Wilson, more than Nipsey did, and that actually Dreka or I don't want to mispronounce her name, but basically Kevin Gates' wife is exactly that, his wife. And he says you have to take your woman as your everything, and you have to put her on the utmost high. Like, and people go like, yeah, Kevin Gates, you're right. And once again, they don't say these things to him because of his persona. So there's no reason at all why we should be saying, hey, if you are treating your woman correctly, or quote unquote simping over her, that you're you're less of a man or something because you're treating your woman correctly. That is just blatantly incorrect. Think about our mothers and sisters and daughters and nieces. Like, you would want someone to treat them right. We always think of like Bad Boys, when that kid came to take Martin Lawrence's daughter, was it his daughter? Yeah, his daughter out to for a date or something like that. And they, like, him and Mike Lowry, they went to the door and was like, yo, don't mess with her, I'll really hurt you. And like, we see pictures of that, or we hear stories of that, like, oh yeah, I got 3 brothers, my brother's gonna make sure you treat me right and all this stuff. But then when it comes to treating a woman right, we're like, yo, if you actually treat her right, you're a simp. Like, what type of contradictive behavior is there's a lot of things that we do in the black community that are just so contradictive, and we need to do better. We need to do so much better. There's that with black love. There's homophobia. There's all the phobias in the black community. Homophobia, transphobia. There's even racism. I did a whole episode about that. Sexism, racism, misogyny. And let me say, first and foremost, say this. I'm not saying we're the creators of these things, or that we're the only community that has them. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, out of all the communities, we seem to be the least connected. The story I always like to tell when it comes to connected societies or connected cultures, I knew this, two people actually told me this, which is ironic. I didn't think about that till just now, but I met this rich Asian man once, and I asked him how he started his company. It was a jeans company. It's really popular in China. I don't remember what it was called right now, but basically I met the owner of it, and I said, how did you start it? And he said, I'm in this group with 400 Chinese owners and entrepreneurs. There's 400 of us, and if we all need anything, we all put up like $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever, and that's nothing to us. But like, if I say, hey, one person give me $1,000, it's like, that's a lot, like that you're taking it from me. But if I told you, hey, if you give me 1,000, I can get like 400 people can just give. I don't know the math off the top of my head. I know everyone thinks I'm nice with math, but If somebody's hurting for 1,000, right, and you have 400 people behind you, if each person just puts up, I think the math would be $2.50 or something, right? Like $2.50. If we all put up that much, and somebody needed $1,000, if there was 400 of us in a group, we would be able to give that person $1,000 in a second. And $2.50 does not hurt us. That's 2 Arizonas and a candy bar or something. It doesn't hurt us at all. So these people are already not pretty well off, but doing pretty well, especially if they're already entrepreneurs and whatever. So this group he's in, he said he needed $100,000 to start his business. He just asked the people of 400, and they all put up like 500 here, 1,000 here, whatever. And they all helped each other start their businesses. All of them. Because trying to do it alone, and that's crazy, a play on words, alone. But trying to do it alone by yourself is almost impossible. You can go to the bank and get a loan and try to pay it off and blah, blah, blah. But it makes it much easier if you have the help of like a local group or friends. And they're like, yo, 1,000 that's not nothing. Like, we got your back. And 400 people put that up. And if you don't even need that much, or if someone can't do it, makes it a lot easier. Because let's say one person goes, nah, I can't do it this time. You still have 399 other people. I think the number that keeps going in my head is he said there's like 432 people or 402, something like that. It wasn't 400 flat. But regardless, what I'm getting at is, do you see how connected other cultures and communities are? In our community, we could never do that. If I said, yo, I want to start a bread company, I don't know. I could say jeans just like how this guy did. Yo, I'm trying to start a jeans company. I need some money. If I went and asked, I don't even know if I have 400 family members, but if I went and asked all of them, there wouldn't be any way I'm adding up to $100,000. There's no way I'm getting $100,000. If I just said, yo, I just need 1,000 from each of you guys, everybody be like, yo, you know, it's a pandemic, I'm hurting, I'm struggling. And that's the truth, that's fine, but I'm just saying, we're not as connected as these other cultures are, not even close. And like I said, there's just a lot that we need to change and a lot that we need to work on. And I don't even know where it starts. Because the one thing about, this isn't just about the black community, but this is just about people in general, and I could do a whole conversation about this alone, but I don't know how to solve a lot of our issues because we all teach different things. So if I said that the one way to solve like getting more connected in the black community was do A, there would be someone that came out and said no, do B, and someone else would be like no, do C. We all are kind of, I guess, selfish in the way that we want to have like the glory or I don't know. We want to be the one that had the right idea or teach the same thing, and they don't do that in different cultures. They all have the same ways of thinking, which makes it easier to connect. And that could be a good thing and a bad thing, because it's harder to learn more information that way if we're all thinking the same way, thinking the same things. But as we've obviously seen, it's harder to get more connected and do things together. Be one. There's this saying, or there's this you could call it idea. There's this idealistic thinking that if the black community doesn't know how like really rich we are. If we always say how we're poor, or if you look at the statistics, even if we don't say we're poor, the statistics say that the people that live in urban areas, which is blacks, are poor areas, or Section 8 housing is more urban and things like that. They're trying to say black. They say that if we combine like all our money or something like that, the amount of money we spend yearly is billions or trillions of dollars. So they say like we have tons of money, we just spend it on the wrong things. And obviously all the problems I'm listing and saying are because of systematic oppression and racism and all these different things that have held us down before. I completely get that. I'm not ignorant to it, but I'm trying to think of solutions, and it's really hard. But I kind of swayed off from what I wanted to talk about with the black tropes, even though that's not too far off conversation. I don't know how we move past just being looked at as you guys are the athletic ones, or you guys are looked at as the thugs. You guys are a threat no matter what. I don't know how we get past it, because I've seen both sides of the coin. A lot of black people in the hoods or urban areas, as the whites want to call it, they seem like they don't really have, they feel as though they don't have many options, so they stick to the same lifestyle that they've always been in. And then the people that have made it out don't ever want to go back to help those people or show them a different path. So we're all stuck where we are. Whereas, like, think about it like I'll put it just like this, and I'll end it there. We don't have any more Harriet Tubmans. Harriet Tubman made it out and then went back hundreds of times to go get other people. We don't have any more of those that make it out and say, yo, I'm going to give you the path to make it out too. We make it out and we go, yes, I'm cool. I made it. Me and my family good. We straight. But there's got to be more. There's got to be more that we can do than that. It has to be. And I think that's the only way out of this quote-unquote darkness that we're in right now. And on that note, I will open up the floor for any questions. And if not, this is Friday Eve. Let's attack the day and then get ready for the weekend tomorrow. Really don't have any answers. The live show is muted, but I really don't have any answers. All right, now with that, like I said, I will end it there. As I always say, you guys can follow me on all social media platforms at the Duron Coles. And like I've been telling you guys, we're grinding. We're on episode 27. Tomorrow will be 28. Soon we'll be on 50. And I appreciate all of you guys that have been just sticking with me and seeing the journey continue. So I will see you guys here tomorrow, Friday, February 19th, 7:30 a.m. Peace.